You're listening to the ESO Network, your station for all things geek.
Check out what's been going on with the Pop Culture Cosmos Show and the PCC Multiverse.
The better that these Marvel films do, the higher the standards are going to be for not just other films in general, but other Marvel films also.
I think it's really hard to end a show with this many fans in a satisfying way.
That's the Pop Culture Cosmos Show.
And the PCC Multiverse.
Playing worldwide on radio 7 days a week and right here on the ESO Network.
Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for the comedy stylings of Hugh from the Borg Collective. When I was part of the Borg Collective, my Borg wife was so fat, when she sat around the collective, she sat around the collective.
The Monster Sci-Fi Show is part of the ESO Network. It's sci-fi from a certain point of view.
Hello, and welcome again to the Monster Sci-Fi Show podcast. Actually, I should start over again because we're dropping the podcast part.
What? We are?
Yeah, because it's just the Monster Sci-Fi Show. I just already screwed up my own new show.
Good job.
Good job. Well, because, we've been away for a while, and in the time since we last spoke, I've been updating our logo to kind of drop the podcast part on the Monster Sci-Fi Show podcast.
I would like to ask if you all would look at that logo.
Oh, jeez.
And just if you have any opinions on it. It's not my favorite thing, but
it's a cool logo that my daughter made that I'm just enhancing. But someone else felt that it looked very rainbow-ish.
And we're LGBT friendly. That's fine.
I mean, that was not my intent. My intent was that because in the little bubbles above the Monster Sci-Fi Show,
I get that.
Right, but and then I tied it in with the sci-fi.
I understand how it happened. I'm just curious what the people think.
I'm trying to make it cleaner, and like when you look at the logo on iTunes, like there it is. It doesn't have my big mug on there like it had before, like a weird cyborg Borg thing.
Some lovely artists give you permission to use that.
Yes, he did. And I'm grateful for that, but I'm tired of looking at my damn face because it doesn't really sell it.
We have t-shirts.
You have a t-shirt and I have a t-shirt, and it will never see my big giant head anymore.
I think we wore it one day at Dragon Con.
That one day, yeah.
But we stayed in the hotel room. We didn't do it.
No, we went out in public with my big face on your shirt and my shirt. So it was weird. Never again. But the new logo will have that be better.
But let us know what you think. Leave in the comments down below. And don't forget to hit the bell, subscribe, and let's...
Remember, I've been you, and you've been me, and we've been what? I don't even know where we're going with this. So, as you can hear, that's Mr. Gene.
Hey, how you doing?
He is back, as well as me, the monster, is back to do, finally, after some time, a kind of review-ish about San Diego Comic-Con that happened just recently, like about a week ago. But the reason why we've taken off a break is because literally, as of yesterday, between, as I mentioned, the last podcast, between my daughter's graduation and my promotion, and I had to go to a new library-ish that I had to help close down for renovation, and yesterday was my last day, so I'm kind of free to kind of go back to a normal schedule that I don't have that on my shoulders. So it's kind of like, I want to do fun things again. I want to
live. I want to laugh.
What was the line? It's like, I want to be brave.
Oh, God, I forget. I want to be big.
I want to be big. Thank you. So that's where I've been. But in the meantime, I had been working on kind of updating the logo for the show. So again, it's not the Monster Sci-Fi Show podcast, because if you're listening to this, you're listening to the podcast of the Monster Sci-Fi Show. So I have to get in my head, that's what it is. It's like in the movie The Social Network, where the guy said, you know what? Just say Facebook. The Facebook.
Get rid of the. Yeah.
Yeah. It's cleaner. So basically, that's what it is. It's just trying to make it cleaner. So.
We're still a podcast.
Yes, it's a podcast. I understand that. But the concept is you don't need to say, it's like an acronym, like that episode in Doctor Who. Santa Har, like that guy. He built a system. It's like the Atmos system.
Right, yeah.
Right.
I got
you can't say Atmos
yeah.
system because he's saying system. So it's kind of like that. It's kind of like you don't need to say podcast because it's a given if it's what you're listening to.
Okay.
All right. Just God damn it. Just support me on this.
I support you.
Thank you. That's right. Anyway, so before we get into the big Comic-Con stuff,
let's talk about other things. Let's talk about the news,
which we haven't done in a very long time, other than get more depressed about other things, but we won't be talking about it.
But that's okay.
But in all fairness, it's more about let's go into our mind palace and be happy-ish about the things that we do care about. So we'll start off with a downer, unfortunately, which happened just the other day, which was the passing of Rutger Hauer. And I'm not going to do the line from Blade Runner because it's been done to death already. But I am saddened by the fact that was one of my favorite roles that Rutger Hauer has done. And as someone pointed out, I don't know who did, but I'm like, the irony was that the character he played, Roy Batty, also died in the exact same year as in Blade Runner. So it's kind of weird that happened. So I will say nothing more about that. But as we were doing our research and looking up on IMDb and what his career was about, and I'm talking about Nighthawks, and things come out that gets me even more disappointed in my co-host. Because it's like, so you never saw Nighthawk with Sylvester Stallone.
No.
You know, he's like in his prime right after Rocky. It's like, and what you tell me?
I've never seen a Rocky movie.
So it's like, God damn it, Gene, you know, you don't watch The Last Starfighter.
No, I've seen The Last Starfighter.
Now.
No, I've seen it.
Now.
No, I just didn't remember. It didn't click in my head. But I've seen it.
I think you're lying.
No, I remember the scene about the head of the guy, the main guy, and I'll tell him about the Playboys. That scene. That's a weird scene to remember. I've seen it. It didn't
All
click
right,
with me.
fine. I'll give you that. But then other things pop up. Like I've never seen that.
Yeah, Somewhere in Time. No, didn't see that. But I watched that.
You watched that recently, yeah.
I'm like, oh God, that song, that soundtrack, you're gonna play forever.
Yes, but you know, it's
These are iconic things you should know. You should
at
see.
least because it's, you know, Christopher Reeve and not Sigourney Weaver.
Jane Seymour.
Jane, thank you.
Sigourney
and
Weaver.
I
Oh,
know,
my God.
wrong movie.
We're forgetting things. We're getting older.
And you know, it's a John Barry score that I think is one of my favorites. And yes, it's very repetitive, like most of his stuff. Even when he was doing James Bond, it was always repetitive. But it's just kind of playing the themes differently in different ways. So one of the other iconic things about Rutger Hauer was that he was the inspiration for Lestat, that Anne Rice wanted him to be in the movie adaptation. And unfortunately, he was too old. And they gave it to Tom Cruise. Which he wasn't...
Fine, he's an entertainer.
Yeah, it wasn't that bad. For me, my personal connection to that movie is that because it was like the last movie that I got to see with my stepfather right after the 4th of July. So I really can't rewatch it again just because it just will bring up too many old memories that I don't want to remember in that respect.
Well, you should start drinking.
If I had money, I would, Gene. I really don't have money for that. So, but aside from that, a lot of roles that he played over the years, and I was surprised that I forgot that he was in Gallivant, which is kind of like a musical parody that was on ABC for a while. Season 2 was very tongue-in-cheek because it knew that was going to be canceled at any time. So I really didn't care about the storyline, but it was still engaging enough that, sure, let's put him on there. So there's a lot of good roles that he's done over the years. And again, the idea is that because we have this kind of personal collection to icons, these people that we watch, and over the years we have a special relationship. But it's sometimes harder to accept that they are in passing rather than someone down the street who passed because you don't know them. So
we really didn't know him. I mean, we know the actor, we know the characters he played,
right,
and those beloved things, those roles,
right, and things that stand out. That he was essentially a great villain in many respects, and he played it very well. So it's sad that he has passed away, but it's going to happen to all of us eventually. So let's move on from that sad point.
Yes, moving on.
And it's kind of like a step forward-ish, but it's not really our problem. But Netflix saw its first decline in subscribers. And you may say, what the hell are you guys talking about Netflix stuff now? Well, it is kind of a big deal because it does affect us in what we're going to be watching the next couple of months. Because in light of what happened in San Diego Comic-Con, and if you don't know, Disney Plus is coming out very soon.
Yes, November. Can't wait.
So the war has been like...
Lines have been drawn.
This line and no further. It's going to be a very, I think, pro-consumer for pricing. If whatever Netflix gets their shit together and decide, let's dial back the price increase to keep and attract more viewers or subscribers, because it's going to be a point in which you're going to be deciding now, I hope I'm going to keep this or I'm going to drop this. And I think at this point, except for maybe one or two programs that I care about, which is the Dark Crystal coming up at the end of August.
Yeah.
And a couple of favorite shows, but like I could watch it another time. I really don't have a feeling for Netflix like I did back in the day when there was no other players.
It's still an interesting service. They still have Disney properties oddly dropping on their network, which is kind of weird.
Right, but that license is going to end up soon. So that all will be pulled, and like the content from like The Office will be pulled soon. So, that's why Netflix has been pushing and pushing and pushing everything about original content because they own it.
Do we know what's going on with the DC
Yes.
network?
Right. So the latest news is that the WB is also getting into the streaming network because the AT&T merger went through. So kind of like what Disney did, they're going to have their own version in which DC Universe is going to be part of the HBO Max. So you have HBO plus other channels. So
We have to choose sides?
literally. So because of the Game of Thrones scenario, right? That was the biggest thing out there. People would subscribe and like that's the reason why they would
And
watch
that's
it.
over and you cancel.
Right. So now that they're looking for the next big thing, they're adding channels with the HBO logo, and that'll be the umbrella. So that'll be their version of what Disney has with Disney Plus. So that's what I get, what they're doing. But I'm glad they're not canceling the service because I would be really pissed.
Yeah, but then Titans is already filming. There was a death there recently that was very
Right,
unfortunate,
exactly.
Which unfortunate timing. Then SDCC, they really couldn't show a trailer. They're like,
Yeah. So I think that the service is great. Unfortunately, I, who paid for this damn thing ahead of time, have not been on it as much as you have.
Yeah, I've watched Doom Patrol. I love it.
Yeah.
I'm glad it got renewed.
Yeah.
But when they start filming it, I'll be happy.
Right. Or the problems like they had with Swamp Thing because they ran into issues with a tax thing from the state.
Which, unbelievable that little things like that would stop it.
And it's like, nope, we got to cut it back. From
We're done. But it just premiered last weekend. Yeah, we're done. We're closing it down.
You're canceled. But what? So it looked like, oh, forget it. They're not going to kind of keep going. But at least it'll be under that umbrella. So DC will be kind of like what Marvel has. Like Disney owns Marvel and Star Wars and all the properties.
That's just Warner Brothers is going to have their new streaming service soon. They'll get the shit together,
Right.
And
And then of course Apple TV, Apple Plus will have their own service. I talked about that a while ago. The one thing I'm interested in about is the Ron Moore series, the space thing. The Russians got to the moon first, and the space race never stopped. That looks an interesting series. But you add that.
Can we look forward to him drinking and smoking again?
Sure, doing podcasts just like on Battlestar Galactica from week to week.
Love that. It's fun for me.
So you have all that, and I think there was I think NBC is trying to, because they'll pull off The Office and use their own platform. Good luck with that. The other note is that Disney is going to be really relying on Hulu for a lot of content because Disney owns Hulu.
Mm-hmm.
I think, and smartly, it's like content that it cannot be put on Disney, but they'll put it on Hulu.
Right.
So, but it will still be part of Disney-ish. So,
hey, isn't your Orville also going to be on Hulu?
Yes, it did move over, which I'm kind of happy about. And I saw on my Facebook post that the guy who runs our network, he said he disagreed, but I'm like, I didn't want to get into an argument. But to me, because Fox has
A
issues,
tradition of just getting canceled.
Right.
You like that? We're canceling it.
right? Or when you air it, they air it like right after football, which gets delayed, and then you'll never see that episode, or whatever. So I'm like, or moving stuff to Friday nights. I don't want to. Let's just make it consistent. And because of the Disney Plus, they might bundle that in like an add-on, like they did for Showtime and HBO and all that in the past. So I might get a better rate than what they're offering just as Disney Plus alone.
Okay.
So, but that's the kind of stuff that would be awesome for them to keep on doing. They're getting a Hitchhiker's TV series, which they're going to kind of remake the original BBC version.
Zoe Deschanel? No.
No, we're not doing the movie. Although I watched it recently, and I'm like, she's the only reason. Well, you sound like the damn door on the ship when it opens, like. Or the Improbable Drive, in which they became yarn figures, and there are moments in there that's so damn clever, but it's nothing like the BBC long form as a series.
I like better, yeah, I like that.
So, will they go the full length and do all the books? Maybe. That'll be kind of cool, because that definitely is a property that deserves to have the long series play out, and they can do it.
Did you watch Good Omens? Did you finish that?
I'm only at episode 4 when the two of them split.
Okay.
I enjoyed the hell out of that series.
It's Douglas Adamsy. It feels
very
British.
much so. But it plays a lot like kind of like Dogma, because it kind of plays with religion and in a more up-to-date setting, but you don't have to be, to me, aware of the religious text, just the basics. Like there's Adam, there's Eve,
right,
you know.
Here's the sword.
Right.
You go off. We ask for the sword.
Right.
It's just what it is.
I think Tennant is fantastic.
He's great.
And it just feels a lot more fun that I want to I should have read the book, that kind of thing. That's the kind of feeling that I'm getting from that.
That's great. That's what movies like this are for.
Right.
In a weird way.
So, but it's only 6 episodes, and I'm not sure if that's just the whole book, or I don't know. Again, I have to find out from the book. So, and then of course, Amazon is another problem. They're also trying to push a lot of content too. So you're going to be at this point. I'm like, look, you can, back in the day when you can kind of nickel and dime stuff, it's adding up. And I'm sorry, at this point, I can say, if I'm going to be adding on other players to the mix, I can see myself dropping Netflix easily.
I'm not ready to do that yet, because it's not that much yet, but it does add up after a while.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to going to get Disney when it comes out,
right?
And that'll be fine for me. But I don't know.
Yeah. So that's I think the worrisome issue is that because Netflix has had this steady increase of year after year of attracting new subscribers and retaining them, They didn't have any competition. Now, this is coming a big thing for them. So hopefully, in light of that, they will realize that in order to not only produce more content, they're going to have to cut back on the pricing, because I think that was one of the big gripes too.
But it's still relatively affordable.
It is.
For
I know, considering what they do and the service that they offer, I agree.
They used to send out DVDs all the time. That used to be their business. And
Yeah.
now-
No, I get it. I really do. We talked about the Hitchhikers thing. The other big thing is the Area 51 raid. Do you want to go to that?
I don't want to get shot by government employees. I don't. And it's not limited to that. No, I'm not doing that. I'll watch from here. See what happens.
We'll watch the
I'll
stream
watch what
live.
happens on YouTube.
Which, it's the stupidest idea that they can't stop all of us as the tagline. I'm like, do you not know they have guns?
Yeah, and Bud Light's like, anyone that survives, we'll give you a free Bud Light. I'm like, that's okay.
So I thought, of all the things, I think it's funny enough and clever enough that I'm like, if I had the money to go to Roswell that weekend, which the hotels I think already sold out, so there's no point. We'll see how far this gets to become a reality, because they had like 2 million people saying they're going, quote unquote.
Yeah.
You're going to get like 3 guys in Chuck, to go. And like,
Or Paul.
oh, Paul. Paul. Not the alien Paul.
That's what I was talking about.
Although I didn't like that movie.
I know. You gave it to me. I know. But yeah, Jay, take this.
It just, I know what they were going with, but it just felt weird. So, all right. So, as always, we have never gone to San Diego Comic-Con. So we have the luxury of viewing all the videos and all the trailers from the luxury of our home because of internet. So,
but we don't get to watch the actual trailers that they showed.
Right, which
that's
sucks.
copyrighted content. Wasn't that great?
Yeah, it's like, well, watch the trailer and then cut. Wasn't that great? Bravo.
30 seconds of silence for copyrighted songs.
Yeah. And then it always happens, like every time they cut back, the camera guy is like out of focus, like he didn't know what he was looking at. I'm like, dude, you're just right there. Just don't move the camera. So that was my frustration. But the stuff that I want, it's the stuff that is like, all right, I can't see the trailers, fine. But I want to see panels, or I want to see what presentations they had. Like the Kevin Feige stuff with the Phase 4 was just like 6 minutes. And I'm like, that's an hour-long thing, and they cut it down to 6 minutes.
They cut digestible bits for you.
Right. And here's Tom Hiddleston. Next.
Yeah.
Here's Natalie Portman. Next. So I'm like, that's not what I want. I want to have at least a full panel. Even if it's just 20 minutes of the panel, give us that.
But the actors don't know what the heck they're doing.
No.
Yet.
I know.
It's very much like, so what can you tell us about this project? Like, I don't know.
Right. But let's go, because we're going to talk about Star Trek. We're going to talk about the MCU. We're going to talk about the movie trailers that came out as well. And then HBO stuff, Netflix stuff, and a couple of TV news bits. So let's go with Star Trek.
Picard.
The Pickard.
Mr. Pickard. Yes, that's good.
The Pickard series. I saw the panel, and I saw the... Let me rephrase that. I saw the trailer first, and then I saw an interview with the cast, but not a panel.
Right.
So that's where I'm like, oh my God, that's Hugh.
Right. Did you see the one where Brent Spiner sitting there with a bag of rolled gold pretzels in his hand for some reason with the interview? Like, that's just a snack. I'm just going to...
So, but the interesting part, because if you listen to the beginning of this before the podcast, because I have the promo, is that I did a promo about Hugh doing a stand-up bit as kind of like a little promo. Yes. So I thought, holy crap, I was ahead of the curve. I had no idea that Hugh was going to be there as a character from next TNG. So I'm like, see, I'm smart. I foresaw this.
You're lucky.
Yes. I am. Because we've been struggling for
Yeah, think of a promo, Gene. I don't know, a snappy promo. I don't know something, or the blip. I don't know, but
Nothing that it was just like
nothing caught this year.
nothing like the Venom thing. What I thought was perfect, that I did last year. I'm like, fine, I'll do the Venom voice. The year before that, I made up a thing where it's Vader choking the guy in New Hope on Captain Antilles' ship.
Or how about the one you did for your library system with Rocket and Groot? I think.
Yeah, but that didn't go anywhere anyway. But my thing was just like, what the hell am I going to do this year that I'm like, that would be that thing that we can kind of play into.
That's clever and
right. And I like
nothing this year.
Literally, I just started writing this thing and I wrote out the script and I was just basically plotting out what I'm going to do because I not only record it, but in 30 seconds. So I had to come up with the idea and how I'm going to do the voice and the settings so that it sounds like you're in a nightclub. And I thought it came out okay.
Yeah, I agree.
But it was kind of hard to kind of squeeze it all in there. But I thought, it was fine. Because the whole idea was that if I'm going to do a promo for this show, I don't want to do this whole boring, listen to my podcast for the latest news and pop culture happenings and all this. Like, who gives a crap? You know that already. So I wanted to kind of do something that's a little different, and usually is a little comedy tidbit.
It was different.
Yeah.
You've told that joke like
I know years ago. and if Jimmy
I was like,
if Jimmy the Brain is listening to this podcast, back in the day when we worked together at Borders, and I was doing a fanzine called Cloudminders, which is a reference from Star Trek. I had a picture of Hugh, and I'm like, I'm going to put a thought bubble or a bubble of him saying the stupid joke. But I'm like, he has no microphone. So Jimmy the Brain made me a little, he drew a picture of Mike and put it in front of him. And then we scanned it. And I'm like, oh, it worked perfectly. So I thank him for that. But that was like since 94 that I came up with that stupid joke.
Lifetime ago. Yeah.
It's a lifetime ago.
A little dated. It's okay.
But
it's coming back.
But if you never heard it, if you never heard it, it's all new to you. So that was the kind of thing that that actually made me happy. Now the trailer, on the other hand,
Data got fat.
And then we'll get into the context, but it's more about the big reveal is that Data is back, but we just see his head, a fat head, and his eyes are extra yellow.
What are you gonna do? Come back from the dead. See what
but my head is not going to be that fat, and I have yellow eyes.
He always had yellow eyes.
Not that yellow.
Not that yellow. That's true.
Yeah, but here's my question: watching the trailer, he's pulling out the drawer, and he has we're assuming Data and
maybe
body
before,
parts.
I don't know. Maybe before. Who knows?
Right.
You have to come back and watch.
Which. Did you see Nemesis?
Yeah.
We all did.
I'm sorry. I did, yeah.
So the thing is, that can't happen if Data was blown up with the ship. Because he sacrificed himself, a la Star Trek 2.
Maybe he saved his neural pathways or his...
Well, that was the thing.
Like Spock was supposed to in Bones.
And he did that with B4 because B4 started singing the song that Data was singing.
Right.
So... that was the idea, was that he'll play a different character that's a little lessly...
I think the less we talk about this, the better off we'll be when it finally shows up.
Yeah, but...
in 2020? Wait, you pushed it back?
Well, we had to. But my thing is just because of when we have the idea that the original concept, and again, I was listening to Midnight's Edge about the original idea, was that...
Brian Fuller came up with this idea and talked about it a long time ago.
Right.
And then he saw the trailer and he cried.
Yeah.
And not in a good way. I'm like, oh.
But that how the idea was Captain Data used Borg technology to capture the people from Romulus,
right.
As a mass collection and
giving them all PSTD. Yeah.
Right. And I get that. And I'm like, that sounds kind of cool, but it doesn't excuse the fact that he died in Nemesis. So unless he had this idea before Nemesis, which I don't think that was the case, how was it that Data came back?
They'll find some weird way that you either A, will be able to accept, or B, it's like, no, but it doesn't matter because Jerry Ryan's back.
Which I find weird because I'm like, the only time they met was in the Borg Hive comic, which I was really pissed off.
Oh, that was a terrible comic.
Yeah. So, and I'm like, I get it that you want to like cross the streams. Sure. That's exactly what I would have done. Any fan fiction writer would like, we're going to cross streams. We're going to pull in Star Wars versus Star Trek. Yeah, we want to see it all. But it was just weird that there's Jerry Ryan after all these years. And
you couldn't even get the prosthetic right, but that's okay.
Well, it's 25% different. That's the whole
That's
thing.
the thing.
That's the
yes,
thing.
it must be 25% different from the original thing. All right, here you go. And now I'm completely confused. Does this take place in the normal universe or in the Kelvin? I don't even know
Or even
anymore.
the fake Kelvin weird offshoot in which Discovery is taking place.
Just show it to me. I'll watch it.
Yeah. No, we're all going to be watching regardless.
And I'll have my whiskey
pain.
bottle by my leg.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, is that really? Oh, my God. They're going, okay. Well, that's better. It's okay.
No, it's not.
Okay, give me the weed.
The other thing was that we still don't know anything about Star Trek short treks. No.
Oh, my God. The shorts. They're going to have 3 of them with Captain Pike and
Yes,
Spock.
that I think blew me away more than anything else. That we're going to get them back at least for the short term.
Netflix, you want to pay for it? No.
No,
All right. How about Amazon? Amazon, I think, bit on it.
they did.
They
but
took the Picard
but
thing.
underbought it. Like they couldn't get the full money they want. Hence why they had to scale back. They put Michael Chabon in charge, and 2020 is the release date. That's why.
And I'm terrified. I'm like, yay, okay. I saw Discovery people at SDCC. When do you
2
guys
of them.
start filming? When do you start filming? Because I don't believe it till you start filming.
Well,
Because things have been renewed in the past from other TV shows that, like, it's been renewed. When do you start filming?
as what's his name? Kurtzman said, it takes at least 8 months for that special effects to all be put in.
Kurtzman is gone.
I
He's
know.
a figurehead,
I know.
to my understanding.
Pretty much. But in a panel, he did say it takes at least 8 months. So they are filming. And what was kind of cool in the Discovery panel was that the guy who played in the Calypso episode,
Yes, he's back.
he's back. Which,
Yes.
that's fine. That's one of the best episodes, even though it's a short trek.
It's Wally.
I really enjoyed the hell out of Calypso. And it gave me the moment that I'm like, oh, this is what Discovery could have always been. Something a little bit forward thinking, not trying to squeeze in the whole canon crap.
I still don't understand. Why didn't you just put it in the future? Why'd you have to make it a prequel? I still understand that.
Right.
Because it's perfectly fine if you put it in the future. It doesn't really matter too much.
Mm-hmm.
But nope.
Right.
Okay.
That was my gripe from the very beginning, but whatever the case
And
is.
yet the thing is, I watched the show and I think, there's 16 producers
Yeah.
plus on this show. I'm
Yeah.
like, get those chefs out of the kitchen. There's too many of them.
Too many chefs. Too many chefs.
But okay.
So,
I just enjoy it.
But again, the short treks I think is one smart because they introduce those characters and the storyline later on in the series, which kind of give you a setup.
That is smart. They used every single one except the mud. The mud one they didn't reuse.
Right, which I was surprised that they didn't bring back for an episode or just background.
I'm sure it was available, but I think all the chaos.
Yeah.
Because I'm pretty sure the transitional thing to make Star Trek Discovery go to the 1,000 years in the
Yeah,
future
he's got-
happened while the series was filming. It's like, where's my script? I need my script. Here you go. Hang on, we're still typing.
Here, Dwight. Bud. Here you go. So the other thing is the Lower Decks, which is the animated series.
Heard nothing about it.
Nothing. I know it's
It's happening.
but it is going to be taking place in the TNG setting. That's the only thing that I know. But you already had an episode in
It's
TNG
animated,
called
isn't it?
It's Animated.
Oh, God.
So that's not by itself because there is supposed to be another series for Nickelodeon, more like a teenage version of Star Trek. But
Yeah, I see people at CBS just trying to relight the franchise, just sitting there trying to rub sticks together.
yeah, but it all depends on what happens when the merger happens. Who knows if the universes will become more cohesive? Who knows? Right. Good observation there.
Yeah,
Tapping the
you can't
nose.
see this. I'm just.
They just tapped the nose. It's a Doctor Who thing, but who knows? But Discovery, other than taking place in 1,000 years into the future, as I kind of mentioned, what it might be if you ever watch Gene Roddenberry's other TV series called Andromeda.
Yeah.
Basically, is that because there was no in that kind of universe, no Federation, that he was Kevin. Oh my God, Kevin! I'm blanking out on the guy who played Hercules.
Sorbo.
Kevin Sorbo. So his character basically is like he's holding on to these ideals for the Starfleet and Federation, but because he got flung into the future, everything was in chaos. So he's trying to bring light basically and bring order to the galaxy, not like in Star Wars kind of fun way, but trying to bring back those ideals. And that's what I'm thinking. What Discovery is going to be is that they're not going to have the need for maybe a prime director because it doesn't make sense anymore. And maybe able
You're
to
completely out your own, like Voyager.
Yeah.
You're just out on your own.
But Voyager at least kind of adhered to the same principles. They didn't lose that. Even though they kind of bend it at times, they didn't break it.
Right, because you can't. If you're out alone, these are the only things that are holding us together from going crazy and falling into chaos.
So that's where I'm thinking that's where it's going to be. It's going to be their new version of Andromeda. But we'll see what happens.
Hey, but Shanika Martin Green's filming Space Jam 2. You excited about that?
No.
No, I know.
I didn't care about the first one anyway. I never cared about Space Jams. That was probably one of the least favorite idea about having live action with an animated world. I mean, Roger Rabbit is like the high bar in that kind of universe.
I actually like Looney Tunes back in action better than that.
I will agree with that
like,
because he did deliver. He did.
Brandon
promise.
Fraser said it's not going to be Space Jam,
right?
And you're right, it's not.
Right, and he promised, and he delivered. So I give him that. So, but other than that, there's nothing really on that level that I'm like, oh, this is going to be so damn good that, I mean,
they're all fighting for your entertainment dollars. Just pay attention to me. Pay attention to me. I'm important. Come on, pay attention to me.
Yeah, well, whatever.
Yeah, we're not going to do that.
All right. So, and then Star Trek Discovery will come out somewhere in 2020.
Sometime-ish.
Somewhere in time.
And that's when I'll subscribe to it.
Exactly. Which, again, it doesn't make sense to have a subscription, and I'm glad you're not doing that.
Anymore.
Right.
See, last year you were like, yeah, I support this network. You just let it lapse. Now I'm like, no, I don't think so.
Which goes back to you're going to be picking and choosing the stuff you want. All right, so let's move on to the MCU stuff.
Ooh, MCU.
And I think, to me, would you say that will be the highlight, like the big thing that happened this year?
At SDCC, yes.
Okay.
I mean, The Good Place shows up, all these minor things. Did Doctor Who show up there? I don't think they did.
They have, but not this year.
Not this year. It's a slow year this year for some reason.
DC did not show up, which I was surprised because you had Wonder Woman's coming out in June, and then
they blinked. Though they blinked.
Yeah, I mean, when Marvel didn't show up last year, Aquaman stole and DC stole the show. Basically, that's.
But this happens like every 2 or 3 years when Kevin Feige shows up.
Right.
At Hall H.
Everyone clears out.
Yeah, it's done, and then every time afterwards, Kevin Smith is there afterwards, like when they did the Last Jedi thing.
Right,
like, hey, who wants to see a concert? He's like,
with John Williams, and then clear out the hall. So he talked about that on the Silent Jay and Silent Bob reboot thing. And it was just funny. It's like, he felt kind of hard because you have assholes that will be taking pictures of the empty rows that were left behind, which is not, in fairness, his fault.
Right.
He still had a couple of thousand people there.
See, right.
Right. So it's still, it's out of his. It's not a thing that it's his doing. It's just the situation just cleared out, like anyone would have had a problem with.
Yeah, they were like, let's go watch John Williams play, and here's a lightsaber.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
So, but, and we kind of talked about this, but the thing is, like, with Disney just, like, dominating everything, that they're blocking out stuff for years on end, and they're becoming so damn big that everyone just stands aside. They're just, you don't have to even, like, no, we're marking this date and challenge you. No.
They're the 500-pound canary?
Basically. So let's start off with the movies, because they kind of, Kevin Feige screwed up the whole timeline thing.
But he didn't do it in order.
Right. And for the next 2 years,
That's Phase 4.
Phase 4, which that's kind of a quicker turnaround.
Yeah, it's a light mix though. You get 2 movies, I think, next year, and then you get 3 movies again the year after that.
Right. So we get the Black Widow movie finally.
Are you going to care about that? I mean, Scarlett Johansson is the highest paid actress in Hollywood right now, and she's great, but she keeps making mistakes.
Like the line she said that she's an actress, she can play any role she wants, and that.
Like Brie Larson makes mistakes.
Yeah. But here's the thing that
I'm not saying that women always make mistakes. It's just
no. And I think this is the whole problem because like in Ghost in the Shell, people were accusing her of doing the whole whitewashing thing, or Matt Damon in The Great Wall. I understand that point. The thing is, in my head, we should be, and we're never going to get there, in a place that any actor, regardless of your gender, regardless of your color, you can play any role.
Which was what she was trying to say, which
Right.
makes sense, but still, the idea though is like, why don't you give it to the other people that are actually that ethnicity or whatever? And I'm like,
Right.
That would be great, but I'm Scarlett Johansson.
Right. Right. So you get the best person for the job. Yes, but the blind side? No, the upside. There was criticism about Bryan Cranston playing a paraplegic
Yes.
when you said, let's hire a paraplegic actor. You could have
No, that's not a good idea.
Right. So this is where I'm like, there are certain situations maybe that might not work.
But the weird thing to me is like the blind side, or the upside. That was you already did that, but in another language.
I know the French
the
version.
same thing. Like The Office was already done in another,
Right.
Another culture, and then we're just updating. It's fine, but it's just like, oh, okay.
But it's still, I understand her point, but it needs to be in a way that, look, if you go look at the Cats trailer,
We'll talk about that in a little bit.
but you're not going to have live cats.
No.
There are certain things. Right, you don't not necessarily have to have the exact same thing as the subject matter. But if we didn't have the whole history of the white man and the whitewashing issues before, then this would not be a problem.
But the thing is that this is a strange time.
It is.
In our culture. We're all trying to balance things out. We want cultural diversity in our films and everything, and that's fine. But the thing is, I mean, I get the idea, like, don't deviate from the source material, but then the Shang-Chi movie's running into problems with that.
Which we will talk about.
But that thing is, that is so ingrained in the culture.
Right.
And it's not a surface thing, it's a deep thing.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, oh, it's going to be a problem. And I'm sure Kevin Feige didn't see that coming. He's like, no, he's a good actor. Like, yeah, but
in the context of the character and the actual reality of the actor. So we'll talk about that in a second.
get there. Yeah, but so Black Widow, are you looking forward to it? Do you care? Do you think
I
you think it'll make the $1 billion club? That's the main question for me, because it's going to be in a year ish, and
it will make it only because we're not going to have anything for a while from Marvel. I don't think we needed to have a Spider-Man Far From Home, but until that time, well, no, let me take that back because Disney Plus will be happening sometime
in November.
Fall. Right. So we'll have something to kind of tide us over. So if we didn't have that, I would say yes, because people will be hungry for something Marvel.
I don't know if we're going to be hungry for that.
Right.
Like, I mean, the Eternal thing terrifies me because I know jack shit about the Eternals.
Right, except it's Jack Kirby stuff.
Right, and I really don't know. I mean, the Guardians of the Galaxy was great, and it fit in perfectly, and I love the way they mixed that into the Avengers thing. But again, the Guardians of the Galaxy I knew from the '60s, the former characters, with Charlie X and the whole. No, not Charlie X, Charlie whatever. But I knew that series. Mm-hmm. I didn't know this series very well.
Right.
But it did get me to pick up a comic book and read into it. But then you had the Avengers that was great. It all built up to something amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Black Widow's dead, and this is a back thing.
But the only thing would be is that whatever characters are in that movie could still kind of pop up later on in other movies. So not necessarily her, but a setup for other characters.
Well, there's going to be the other character, the blonde. Whose name I can't remember. the blonde Black Widow is going to be in that movie. That's going to be fine and fun. And
The Rachel Weisz character?
no. There's a blonde girl that's
Okay. Well, yeah, don't worry about it. It's there. We'll worry about that when it happens.
okay.
But that's the thing that I definitely want to see what happens in Budapest.
Yeah.
What she did to get all that red on her ledger. So I think it's kind of okay.
And you've got the Taskmaster
Yeah.
showing up, and you've got some other characters showing up. I don't know, but I don't know if it stands on its own because it's a year after the Avengers. It's not the blockbuster you need because that's going to open the summer season.
Right, but someone also pointed that this could also be the Rogue One. You kind of know what is going to happen afterwards anyway.
And did Rogue One make that much money?
I think it did. I think if it plays into the Rogue One moment in which all the beats are there, that like I didn't know I needed this movie now, and it's wonderful.
Possibly,
We'll see.
but then I think the Eternals is going to leave us cold.
Which is a whole other thing because you're going like 1,000 years into the past with
Dropping off things on Earth
Yeah.
to look after Earth.
right,
It'd be
which
very
are
strange.
the Celestials created
the Eternals. Put them on Earth.
Right.
The three different species. Some of them are monsters, some of them are human,
right.
and some of them are Eternals.
So that's the weird thing because the Eternals are a weird unknown, like super unknown. If we're gonna be like, who the hell we're getting to that point in which I don't even know who the hell these characters are, but they're still going with it.
I don't understand why Kevin Feige chose to leave. I mean, the Avengers thing is done, and you need a grace period, and fine. You're going to set up all those characters on the Disney streaming service, but then I mean, he picked it up with the Doctor Strange movie later on, which I thought was a beautiful lead-in,
Right.
Because we do the WandaVision thing that ends spring, that starts spring 2021, and then right after that, it rolls into May 7th, 2021 with the Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. That is brilliant.
Right.
That's like the X-Files thing. You watch it on TV,
Right.
and it concludes in the movie where we get your money.
The moments that we thought after Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. was going to do, the continuity kind of playing over and continuing the storyline from a different point. And I'm like, again, first season, halfway through, fantastic. After the fall of S.H.I.E.L.D. with the Hydra infiltration, that last half of the season was brilliant. We never got that moment again. And I'm still watching Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., hoping for that one moment again.
Fool! No, sorry.
Well, like I said, that one moment last year when we're on the phone and I'm watching Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. because I'm not giving a crap, and he said the word, Thanos is coming. I'm like, what? And I'm like, I got super excited, but there was nothing.
Yeah, and Thor Dark World comes out like, and there's going to be a thing on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., and it was just
It's like
crap.
Lady Sif shows up and they're just cleaning up his mess, and that's how we do it. And I'm like, do what? You didn't do anything. God damn it. That really pisses me off. So yes, I think the cast is fantastic, and I'm not doubting that aspect. I'm just start worrying about. I'm gonna have to read up on what the hell the internals are because
and you will because we're dorks,
Right.
and we want to see ahead. But you don't have to. I don't think. I mean, it's on Hoopla.
there you
the
go.
Neat Gaiman
Nice
thing.
tie-in. There you go to the library service. So, but we'll see. I mean,
And I think Rob Stark said it. The guy who plays Rob Stark is in that, as well as Angelina Jolie and
oh yeah, I mean the cast is some Salma Hayek of all things was just like, oh my gosh, she's gorgeous again. No, she looks hot, really hot. I was just like, her.
well, just get her an air conditioner or a fan.
Wow, your wife is hot. Fix the AC.
That's an advertisement we have.
There we go.
locally. I'm sorry.
So let's move forward to the Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings, which we are getting a Mandarin, finally.
Yes.
But
you want to talk about the problems on this?
yeah, let's talk about that.
All right. So what do you know about it?
Other than it was a kung fu type property, came out in the 70s, as far as I am exposed to. I'm not
I've
sure.
never read it. I have no idea either.
Right. I have no idea because that kung fu stuff was not into. So I'm like, oh, is this going to be like Iron Fist 2.0? And maybe they'll get it right. They might because they have an Asian lead. But as doing further research and listening to other people's point of view,
Podcast, yeah.
it turns out that the main lead in the comic book, Shang-Chi, leaves China to go to the West and becomes...
Are you talking about the actor or the actual?
No, the actual comic character. That the parallels are that because he left China and left into a different culture, it's frowned upon. And as the actor playing that character also mentioned at the very beginning of the introduction that his parents left China to go to Canada and do the exact same thing. So the parallel already exists that's something that's kind of frowned upon, which I thought that's like, oh, shit.
And that's funny. And I'm glad I'm not a doctor. I'm like, that's cute, but okay.
Right, and I get it. And it plays well for us until you realize the bigger significance behind that.
Movie's going to be weird.
Yes. But
Aquafina's in it at least.
Which I'm happy about, but, I like Crazy Rich Asians, but Chinese audience didn't appreciate that characterization and all that jazz.
But American Asians liked it.
Right.
Domestically, it did very well.
So, if Kevin Feige is playing to China because they're the dominant box office.
I think that's what this is, but I don't know if like Shang-Chi's going to be the Avengers or anything like that because he's a street level character.
Right. And how do you...
Wow, you're fake. Yes?
I don't know how you're going to do a Kung Fu-esque martial arts.
You go back to the old school thing.
Right, but then it's going to be a period piece.
No, not like that. You just film great scenes. I don't know. I'm not sure it'll work. I'm not sure if the Eternals is going to work. It doesn't matter. These are just placeholders.
Right. And then, of course, the Mandarin has something similar to the Infinity Gauntlet. He has the 10 rings that also do magical stuff.
Have you ever read a Mandarin story?
No, but I did the Iron Man animated movie in which Mandarin was part of it. And I kind of I was happy with the first Captain America, the Avengers retelling the reboot. That series. I was really happy with that, and I thought the second one sucked ass. I was disappointed by that. And then...
Are you talking about Captain America or are you talking about the Ultimates?
It's the Ultimates.
Right.
First one was fantastic.
Right, I agree. Right.
Second one was not that great. And then it kind of started declining. And the next one I think was Iron Man. And that was with the Mandarin. It's not like...
but we're going to fix that now with the What If stuff that's coming out.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
But the Doctor Strange one was actually probably the best one out of the lot because it helped me feel better about Doctor Strange with... You don't need to be a mystic or have to make these chants in order to power up whatever. You just have you have a thing on you, and you just create the thing you want to protect or make magic an attack weapon. So it kind of took that thing out from the comics because, if you read the comics and you read all the stuff he's trying to cast spells, it's like, he's fucking reading Latin, and I'm like, I don't understand what the hell's going on, and he's getting psychedelic and all that, and kind of fixed that. But with the Kung Fu stuff, that's what Marvel was trying to do in the 70s, and with Iron Fist, that trying to catch into that craze, because Kung Fu movies were big during that time. I don't see that right now as a thing, and they tried, is it 2 seasons? Yeah, 2 seasons of Iron Fist, and never caught on.
No, but that's because the location count was bad, that it was like a PG show that didn't make any sense. You're like,
and a white man
boring
spouting,
as crap.
What was it? What is that thing you called? Chinese sayings, whatever.
Proverbs?
Proverbs. Yeah, he was just trying to be the wise man from a white man.
Little fortune cookie
basically.
sayings. You're like, no.
So we'll see how this plays out, on many different levels. Not just, the whole political issue, but just on a fundamental, is this going to be entertaining to us?
It'll be weird. Again, these movies don't make any sense to me. The Black Widow does, but that's the last movie that makes sense to me until the Doctor Strange movie.
Right.
Because the Eternals and the Shang-Chi, they're gambles. But you can afford to gamble. You're doing so well. So, no, throw the dice and set up your TV network. That's fine.
Right.
That's what I feel.
All right, so let's pick up our conversation talking about the next movie, which is the Doctor Strange 2, which is the Multiverse of Madness, which in the presentation, they talked about the WandaVision TV series. Whatever's happening in that is going to lead in to the Doctor Who movie, which...
Doctor Who?
I'm sorry, Doctor Who. How strange. Who knows? But my thinking, like, oh, are we going to do like the House of M?
They could bring in mutants if they wanted to.
Because he did mention mutants.
Mutants,
But
yeah, but I don't know if
didn't
he's.
say how.
You could maybe get a glimpse.
Yeah,
I think they'll just fill it with Easter eggs and go with that.
yeah, and I would be really happy with her going mad and fracturing the world. And
That's what they're setting up. They're setting up WandaVision. That's I think it's 10 episodes. Not sure.
I don't know.
But I'm sure she'll go mad by the end of it, and Benedict Cumberbatch will show up, and then like 2 months later, or a month later, you'll have the movie.
Right, and I guess they would be the ones battling each other ish.
It has to be.
Yeah, because I don't see other than Dormammu. Who else is like a villain for Doctor Strange?
Nightmare. We have what's his name? The Ejiofor character.
Edge of who?
He was in the original.
Oh, yeah. That was left off. He's like, I'm coming back. I'm gonna kill your ass when I come back.
Yeah,
because you're using magic the wrong way or
right.
something like that.
But you're not coming back. Not for this next movie.
Which I'm like, that's exactly what Marvel needs to do. Set up villains.
Yeah,
Don't kill them off. Just set them up. You know, like we didn't talk about this Baron Zemo.
Yeah.
He might be coming back. No, he is coming back.
He is coming back.
But wearing possibly
the purple mask.
the purple mask.
He is.
Yeah.
That's what I hear. What happened at SDCC?
Right.
That he actually put it on.
Right. So that's the kind of thing. Like that's how you have it. That's how you have the villains set up because they're great. Don't kill them off. Loki, great. Don't kill him off. Well, you did, but you still got around that because you got a loophole into that.
You can always go around it.
Yeah.
Any thoughts on the Hawkeye show?
We'll have a Hawkeye show. That's about it.
Yeah.
I mean,
what? Hawkeye?
I mean, it's great that he's getting his own series.
It's not even his series though. He's going to be
Right,
teaching
but-
someone else.
Kate Bishop.
He just gets a few more paychecks.
Yeah. I'm like, remember the good old days when I did the follow up to, oh my God, that's Jason Bourne program?
And you remember when I was going to be in the Mission Impossible thing with Ethan Hunt, and then Tom Cruise went, "No, I'm taking that back."
Never mind. So, I feel bad for him, but
It's fine. It's a check.
yeah. But it's they think they wanted to tap into the whole couple episodes maybe with the Ronin stuff, why he went the way he did. As long as he gets to do something and it's not just background character stuff, we'll see.
Do you think they're setting up the Young Avengers because you've already got Stature-ish?
If they're gonna play into the comic book, and I forgot which line has that logo, who's the writer for that, but it looks exactly like the exact same comic line.
That's the Hawkeye thing.
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah. So if they do that, then I heard good reviews about that. So we'll see what happens.
You've
with
never
that.
read the Hawkeye comics?
No. Honestly, it's like if you're going to be doing DC versus Marvel, Hawkeye versus Green Arrow, it's Green Arrow, not Hawkeye for me.
Good luck with that.
We shall see.
I'm sorry. This universe is much more powerful than that universe right now.
I'm talking about comics, fucker.
Yeah, well,
Leave it alone. All right, but the big news was, and I was kind of surprised before Comic-Con because I heard about this, because originally Taika Waititi was supposed to do Akira.
right.
And that's been put on hold, quote unquote, because of issues and things that have to resolve. So he's coming back to do Thor 4.
Which we've never done a Thor movie before.
Right. Because it would have been the 4.
Isn't that fantastic?
Fan 4 sticks.
Yeah, exactly.
But aside from Chris Hemsworth and
Tessa Thompson.
which coming off their highly great success of Men in Black International, which was I have not seen it, but nor did I have any desire to see it.
I did want to see it, but after the critics chewed it up, I'm like, I'll wait till it's on DVD.
Yeah.
Which is sad because I really do want to see it. I support them, but
Yeah.
no.
So I'm glad they're coming back. But the big news was that Natalie Portman was coming back, not only as Jane Foster, but as our first female
Mighty Thor.
Yeah, that's the big news. And literally, he gave Mjolnir to her, and she's holding it up, kind of like, am I worthy?
What am I doing?
I don't know if I'm worthy. Yes, you are worthy, and I'm glad that's happening. So,
As am I. I think that's a great way to set up A-Force if they want to do that.
definitely,
So many things they can do.
Yes, and I think because of the fact that Thor: Dark World was such a god awful movie, and she had almost nothing to do with that movie, and kind of phoned it in with her performance, and she was just kind of regulated to being left out of Thor Ragnarok. This is the only way you're going to get her back and bring back that thing that we loved about her in the first Thor movie. So,
which to me, when I saw her, I'm like, why didn't you give this to a lesser actress?
Yeah,
you don't want to be here. I didn't know that at the time, but
right. But still,
she holds her own in that movie, in the first Thor. I'm like, that's great.
So yeah, and I'm really happy that we're finally getting this transition to more representation on the big screen, as well as having more female characters being involved in the lead, if not, being more of in the storyline. But it was weird, again, Taika Waititi doing a second movie, and we've always talked about the follow-ups to movies that a great director did. Always feels...
I have to admit, I am a little worried about Thor, Love, and Thunder.
Yeah.
Because it's like, Taika Waititi's never written before, to my knowledge. And he's writing this one. I'm like, oh.
But then again, I trust in his abilities to deliver a good movie. It's just that rule of a same director doing the second movie has always been a problem. Even in my opinion, Spider-Man: Far From Home, I don't think it was, to me, as good as the first.
I don't know. There's always that who breaks the rule. I thought Far From Home was better than Homecoming, in my personal opinion.
Right.
But it's my personal opinion.
Right. It doesn't count. What? All right. So let's move on to the actual TV shows, which are coming to Disney Plus, which we have The Falcon and Winter Soldier, which we talked about. Baron Zemo is coming back, which is great. Do you want to see Falcon get his new costume like they have in the comics, or just keep him as...
He has to get a new costume.
Right.
It's what's going to happen. He came out holding the freaking shield, for God's sake. So, yeah, Sam Wilson's going to be the Captain America for a while, but on the streaming service. So it's fine. It's safe. I think what they're doing with the streaming service is brilliant.
Yeah.
You've got, 3 or 4 shows there, and it's perfect because it keeps it going.
It does.
At least till 2022.
Right.
When everything comes back. Captain Marvel 2, Guardians of the Galaxy 3, whatever you want.
Right.
And by then, hopefully, we'll know more about the new Spider-Man movie, hopefully, that they'll be doing.
Well, it should, because it did $1 billion. You're not going to not do another sequel, The other one is Loki. My daughter commented to me about the logo for the show and how wonky it looks. Like it's mismatched letters, different fonts, colors, and all this. I don't know what to make of it other than, look, they found a way to get around Loki being killed off, spoilers, in Infinity War. So in Endgame...
Which was impressive to me, since people cried at that and were really heartbroken. And like, oh no, he's not dead. Just wait a year.
Right. And technically that's right, but not really of that year, just earlier.
Right, that's the weird thing. It's the Loki from the Avengers movies. It's like, wait, what?
So
no redemption.
Right, exactly.
Still a villain. Just, okay.
So he's still going to be that ass. And the true Loki that we kind of liked, but didn't like, but I kind of like.
But it's kind of sad that Tom Hiddleston has nothing else to do. Crimson, whatever the movie was that Del Toro producing, wasn't that great. It's just, no one wants to see it. It's like Chris Pine. Chris Pine, no one wanted to see him as Jack Ryan. They'd rather see...
Well, that's to his credit. It's not his fault. It's just... Jack Ryan has never been done properly, I think, since like Alec Baldwin or even Harrison Ford.
Even Harrison Ford, I'd be debatable.
Yeah, because the latter half, I'm like, maybe the first 2, okay, we'll go with that. But I'm like, stop, Harrison, you're done with this, and that got tired.
And then we'll spit it off and let Ben Affleck do the role. I'm like, oh no, don't do that.
Right, and then like Washington D.C. gets bombed by a nuclear bomb, and I'm like, you got to be kidding me! This is how we're doing. So like, stop it. But the only saving grace is the Amazon Jack Ryan TV series.
Right.
That's the way you needed to do it, and I enjoyed the hell out of it, except for the last episode, which they kind of felt rushed. But nice. Aside from that, so I don't know what's going to happen. I'm just thinking that
You're going to get addicted to the Marvel Universe again and wait for 2022.
Right.
Basically.
But he's going to be jumping around. Jump around.
Jump around.
So, and I'll be...
Get up. Sorry, right.
Because there'll be no presidents. He can do whatever he wants with that
The
stuff.
thing is, I think that when Kevin Feige shows up at Hall H and he sets the precedent for what's going to happen, he knows what he's doing. He's a great strategist. He's a master strategist. He's a master builder. And it's going to be fun. So he tells you what he's going to do for the next 2 years. The next 2 years is about the streaming service.
Right.
And the streaming service is going to be gangbusters, even without the freaking Marvel stuff, because you got the Mandalorian there.
Mm-hmm.
You've got all this Disney content. It's going to kill.
Right.
And yet this is my segment. And the segment is like 30% of why you're there.
Mm-hmm.
And it's going to be fun. I'm really interested in the What If series, which hopefully, if they do the animation right, will hit big time.
Yeah.
Since all the original voices are coming back.
Right, which is the other bonus. If you don't know about the What If series, basically it's from the comic line in which there's a character named the Watcher, which we did see. I forgot which movie that Stan Lee was with on the movie.
Guardians of the Galaxy 2.
Thank you. And basically, he watches over the events on Earth and records it. He is not to interfere with such events, but he takes moments in time and I guess plays out to see if things went out differently. Like, what if Rick Jones became the Hulk instead of Bruce Banner?
Or what if Peggy Carter got the powers of Captain Marvel, which is the first one, I think, of the series.
Yeah, which that's going to be...
Which I'm looking forward to. I'm looking forward to Haley Atwell. I really wanted a Peggy Carter season 3.
Yeah, which I'm glad you got into.
Thanks to you. Yes.
For that. So the What If really has that kind of fun of, literally, it's what if we do this? To storylines that we've seen already and just play around with it. I think that is... I've always enjoyed that series growing up, and it's one of my fondest memories of my stepfather because he helped me build up that collection in comics.
But it's always so dark, And then the world ended.
Right, it never ends the way you want it to end because it's like, no, it should have been the other way around. And I'm like, okay, I get it. But still, it's one of my favorites. So, DC has their Elseworlds with their version of like a What If, but this is like the original.
Are we excited about Jeffrey Wright getting the Watcher role?
Yeah, I mean, he's
earned it.
Yeah, he's a great
the Westworld, the game. That's fine. The funny thing is, he comes out and they're like, "Yes, I'm going to do the voice of the Watcher." I'm like, "So you'll work a weekend once in a while and get more."
Basically, but here's the thing: the Watcher is kind of white-ish creature. Jeffrey's not, and it shouldn't matter. And I think going back to the Scarlett Johansson. That's the way it should be. It doesn't matter. Now, are we going to change the look of the character to match the actor?
Doubtful.
I don't know.
It's just the voice. Because it's like, I don't think Jeffrey Wright's on the level of like Morgan Freeman, but it's fine. Or James Earl Jones. It's fine.
Right. So, and then we talked about Hawkeye, right? So we don't need to go into
we don't
that.
know anything about that.
But the big closer. Oh wait, don't go. Malisha Ali comes out. You got your own hat there.
Put that on. Put that on.
Oh, wait, we can't read it. Oh, let's go to the sign above. Blade. We're getting a new Blade.
That's going to be, I guess, Phase 5, since it wasn't on the schedule for Phase
It doesn't
4.
say, we don't know if it's TV series. We don't know if it's a movie.
Probably a movie.
It has to be a movie.
He's an Oscar-winning actor, and the funny thing to me is the way he's like, yes, I have 2 Oscars now. Let me call Kevin Feige. I want this.
He will take this meeting. So no more Wesley Snipes, although who knows, we may get him in a role, a cameo, who knows.
I'm sure they'll approach him, just like they did Lou Ferrigno with the Hulk thing. It's like, hey.
Or we'll just send him in Post-it notes. It's like, would you like to do this? Chuck, yes, if you want, and then send the Post-it note back.
Don't forget to pay your taxes on that.
Yeah.
No, I'm sorry. That's me.
So it's a reference to the whole debacle of Blade 3, how he was not happy with the director.
He was terrible. And just, it was on me. So I was watching him like,
yeah.
But David Goyer still works. His name is still all over Hollywood. So.
Oh, yeah, definitely so. So that was a big thing. So we'll get Guardians of the Galaxy soon, whenever.
After Suicide Squad.
Yeah, exactly. We're not in any rush. Let him do his own thing. Not that he's going to, sabotage DC. I don't think that's going to happen.
No, he'll do the very best that he can.
But,
and I'm sure Dave Bautista will be there somehow.
Well, he is. But the thing is, the problem lies is that if that hits, and then he goes off to Guardians of the Galaxy 3, and that hits, there's a bidding war that's going to happen. If that happens.
Too far in advance. Doesn't really matter right now. Let's get the money in the bank account first.
Well, if he wins with Suicide Squad, he's going to have a big paycheck for Guardians.
But the thing that's interesting to me is the way that this all works out. I mean, we all thought that Thor was going to be Guardians of the Galaxy 3. Now you have Taika Waititi's thing in Thor 4,
right?
Love and Thunder. So you don't really need that.
Well, unless he came back for one quick adventure. Hey guys, can you drop me back up on Earth?
To my understanding, the Guardians of the Galaxy 3 script is amazing.
Yeah,
and already done. It was already done beforehand.
Right,
so
exactly.
Just do that.
Yeah. Which I think, if I remember correctly, they were talking about the origins of Rocket being part of it. So
then you got to do the Adam Warlock stuff,
right?
Which he wasn't in the Infinity stuff, so I don't know what you're gonna do with that character.
It was kind of hinted at the end of Guardians 2. That was in the chamber.
The thing is, he's integral in the Infinity Gauntlet stuff, but he's a little late to the party.
Very late to the party, unless it's a what if. What if Adam Warlock came to the party?
Oh, you mean we did it like the way in the comics?
Never.
So let me ask you this question. Now
Yes.
that we've reviewed all these films and upcoming TV shows, what are you the most excited about? What project?
If I'm going to pick the movies, it's definitely Black Widow first, Doctor Strange, and Thor 2 and 3. Eternals, Shang-Chi.
I don't care. I don't care.
I'll see it, but I don't know how to feel about it until I know more.
I'm more excited. I'm really excited about Thor: Love and Thunder. That's my number one ish. But the way they've set up WandaVision and Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness together, it's going to be a 1-2 punch.
Yeah,
that catches my attention a lot. And I'm so impressed that Benedict Cumberbatch. I mean, I liked him in the Doctor Strange role, but he didn't stand out to me until Thor Ragnarok, and then his role in the Infinity War and the Endgame. Yeah, that those movies, those little bit parts, gave him so much more credibility than in his own movie.
Right, and I totally agree with that.
He totally matured into the role, which is interesting to me.
Yeah, and again, that was a hard, I think, world to explore in such a short time with just 2 hours. The whole mysticism thing, making magic work as a thing, as opposed to like outer space with the Guardians of the Galaxy and making that work. So it's better that they put him in the background and just be that thing, just that expert you need to go to, And
your cloak of levitation will be a wanted character that we like to see again over and over.
Exactly. All right, so let's move on to a couple of trailers. I'm assuming you saw some of the trailers.
I saw most of the trailers.
Okay. Yeah. So the big one was a big surprise was, to me, Top Gun
Maverick.
Top Gun Maverick. Who knew I wanted to see this movie? Because I didn't want to see this movie.
And it embraces the cheese factor on it.
Oh, yeah. All the callbacks. Him on a motorcycle racing against a jet fighter on the side.
Him putting on the jacket with even more decals and shit on it.
The glasses.
And yet the controversy with the jacket. Do you know about that?
No. What's the story with that?
The story with that is on the back of his jacket. In the past, he had the Japan flag on it and the Taiwan flag on it. The problem with that is you want to appeal to the China market.
You got to take it off.
So you've got to take it off because they're like, Taiwan's there, like, don't invade us. But we're on his freaking jacket. Like, yeah, you are. But they have more money, so we're going to.
Digitally removed. No, just take off the patch.
I am from Taiwan. I'm kind of okay with that, but I'm still like, but okay. Do what you have to. Because it doesn't affect the movie that much. It's just the symbology of it.
Right. But it's still a thing that
I'm sure people in Taiwan would be like, It's just like removing the U.S. flag.
Yeah.
From something that in the past was there. It'll be fun. It'll be okay. But it's sad that we live in these times. But okay.
It does look gorgeous.
Is Kelly McGillis in it?
I don't know. I'm not saying anything bad here, but except for Tom Cruise, everyone else has not aged well. since that first.
But Val
movie.
Kilmer's got to be in it.
He's in it.
And Ed Harris is in it. I think.
I don't know. No, he is in it.
Right.
It's someone else that's from the first movie that's not in it.
Goose.
So I posted something on
I'm the
Facebook.
ghost of Goose Pass.
Someone did a meme. Guess who's not excited about Top Gun 2? It's Goose.
I saw that. I was like, ooh.
Oh my God. Because unfortunately he's dead. But Meg Ryan was in it. And I don't think she's in this movie because she was the wife of Goose. So, and it plays back to the bar scene in which the guys are singing. And the aerial shots look fantastic. I mean,
We got Jennifer Connelly in the movie.
yeah, but it doesn't feel like overly saturated with filters like Tony Scott did for that movie. But it still looks gorgeous, and it still has that. Well, why doesn't he move on? Because he should have been like a 2-star admiral by now.
Right.
Well, he doesn't follow the rules because he's a maverick. Still, it's
I would
something.
imagine you'd be like an alcoholic if you're not a 2-star admiral.
Or he has like
Issues.
right, exactly. He should have issues, but he's cool to where he is. But I like the idea of the fact that you're being phased out. We don't need pilots anymore.
We got drones.
Yeah, exactly. So I think that only works when we have that now. If this came out 10 years ago, no, who cares? You don't like that storyline because it doesn't exist. So very pleased. Never thought that I would actually be excited for
A Tom Cruise
movie.
So much. But it's such an iconic thing from the past.
Yeah.
I'll watch it. I don't care.
Right.
Critics can go, don't see this movie. It's garbage. No, I'm still going to go see that.
It 2 came out as far as the trailer. And I watched the original It back when it was a miniseries back on TV with Tim Curry and John Ritter when he was much older. So I loved the hell out of that miniseries. The first movie was fine, and I liked it, and I was surprised that my kids actually got to see it and were okay with it. It's going to be a lot more bloodier, with the amount of blood that's going to be spilled, so to speak, in this new movie. But it's the whole thing about clowns. Do you have a fear of clowns, Gene?
I think I do. Because I haven't seen it. I don't. I could. I don't know why.
Yeah.
I don't like horror movies.
No, you don't. And when you do, it's during the daytime with the windows, with the shades open, and maybe with company.
Yeah, right, exactly. With the stuffed animal close by.
That's what
and
I'm
the
at.
blankets just to pull over.
Right, exactly. So the other trailer, which we talked about briefly, was Cats.
God, this could be such a terrible misstep.
I mean, if people lost their minds over Sonic, this is far worse because this is multiple characters looking absolutely weird.
But what do you do if you're making the movie?
So the idea is that you shouldn't make people look more cat-like, even though they're standing upright and dancing and all forth and so forth. So that's fine, but they don't do that. So you don't give them a cat nose. You just make them look like a cat, a person with a cat body. It looks weird.
Cat people?
Even cat people look better than this damn movie because they use actual prosthetics to do the changing of the effects.
But what is it that makes this so creepy? I mean, it is creepy.
It's the human features that's supposed to be on a feline body. Granted, the Broadway show is the exact same thing, but they did better makeup.
That you clearly saw was makeup.
Which is fine.
This
And
is not like that. This is
No.
just...
And then every once in a while, either Judi Dench or some other cat looks like they're wearing like a skin or a fur coat of another cat over themselves. And I'm like, are they what? Wait, so they skinned the dead cats and then they wear the coats on themselves?
Clearly, they're supposed to be cats in scale, but it's a dance thing. So,
Which is even weirder
I know.
because when they put the cats jumping on a bed,
Yeah.
it looks like they're really small, but then you put them in front of a table and they're banging on the table with knives and forks. Looks even weirder because they don't oppose.
But I don't know what to do with this movie. I'm sure it'll come out, it'll get some critical acclaim, but I think that the creep factor would just it's just
And it's
weird.
coming during the holidays in December. That's the other thing.
But it's got so many great people in it. You know what I mean? Ian
Yeah, but
McKellen, Judi Dench.
it only has the
James
one
Corden, Idris
memorable
Elba.
song.
True.
And that's the only thing that's going for it. And Jennifer Hudson's going to sing it, which is fine. But I don't even like what the makeup looks on her. It looks horrible.
I don't think it's going to do well. I hope I'm wrong.
Yeah.
Because like other musicals, like Greatest Showman, that was great, but
Yeah.
that was kind of an original thing.
Right. I saw for fans of people who like Taylor Swift, and I'm just going to love watching her in that.
I think they might be creeped out too.
Yeah, well.
We'll see what happens. Wish it luck.
Yeah. The other one, the last one is Jay and Silent Bob reboots. I know you're not a big Kevin Smith fan.
No, I was.
Was?
I was.
Was.
I was early
Fantastic.
stuff. I love Clerks.
And
I love Chasing Amy. I liked Mallrats. It's when he went weird.
right. And
Dogma. I was like,
No, I dug Dogma. I even dug Red State, which is more of a darker movie that he's ever done before. So it's strictly away from everything he's done before. And if you've never seen this, it's really up there. I have not seen Tusk, but I have seen Yoga Hosers. And I've seen everything else prior to that. The only thing that I have a problem with is Jay and Silent Bob themselves. They were fine, like in Clerks, in small doses.
right.
But now you're making them do their own adventures, like a spin-off characters.
But it's weird because they also like Blunt Man and Chronic in the comic books, and that's kind of weird. And but the thing is, it's a cult thing.
Right.
You know, they had a cartoon show on ABC for a while.
Yes.
You know, and there's Clerks 2. And
Which worked on so many levels that I was just like, this is fantastic. But it's not so much about Jay and Silent Bob. That's the thing.
they're just spin-off characters they can't let go of.
Right. And I get the concept of the reboot movie that's happening to their characters from the first time. They're going to reboot them.
Oh,
again.
I get why they're doing
Right,
it.
and it makes sense, and that's not, the premise is great. I mean, aside from the cameos alone, you know, even Chris Hemsworth is going to be there. Melissa Benoist, who plays Supergirl. So everyone that he's been in contact with is all going to be in this movie. My only thing is it going to be that kind of movie in which, unless you're a diehard Kevin Smith fan,
it's pretty much what it's turned into.
yeah,
I think it's not for every moviegoer. It's for its fans.
right. So if you appreciate him, then this should be right up your alley. But even for me, being a fan of his, I wasn't thinking about, you know, Jay and Silent Bob Strikes Back as well. That's hysterically funny. It was just more annoying because you're dealing with these two guys where one of them is only speaking and the other one's pantomiming. It's like,
No, but Silent Bob can't talk. He does have that great monologue in Chasing Amy about Chasing Amy,
which is
just
hysterical.
so
Brilliant. I love that moment. And then he shuts up. And then,
I think that Chasing Amy is probably my favorite
Yeah.
Kevin Smith film. So what else we got?
all right. So other trailers for HBO, since they have no more Game of Thrones.
I have one question to ask you about later towards the end.
Yes. We have 3 that came out. His Dark Material, which is the remake, or not a remake, but you know, it is kind of the Golden Compass. So they're taking his books and redoing this as the next big thing, right? We also have Westworld, which I've not finished, but
I saw it.
you saw it.
And at the end of it, I'm like, I don't know how you get a season 3 out of this, but good luck.
And then the Watchmen series, which is coming out later.
That looks interesting because it's in the future.
Right.
It keeps going forward. I'm like, okay, I'll watch that.
And I think out of the 3, definitely, if I was going to subscribe for the first time to HBO, it's Watchmen that gets my money for that.
And Watchmen, I mean, the fact that it's on HBO and HBO is not afraid of anything.
Right.
Language, nudity, just throw it in there, whatever
Yeah.
you want.
And they're kind of playing off with the event of the actual book, but it's kind of like, I guess within like that universe, it's like side stories maybe, because it looked like to me like at the very last, like there was a Dr. Manhattan coming down, picking up a mask, because it made reference to him in the movie, in the trailer. So I'm like, I'm kind of digging the look of it overall, with like the clan of Rorschachs wearing the hood. Everything about it has a lot more of that atmosphere that the movie kind of portrayed, and even in the comics. I'm still like halfway in the graphic novel, the omnibus of before Watchmen. I'm like literally on page 500. I have not been able to finish the last 500. But it still kind of captures the essence of what the original one was. But it just seems like there's no story yet. Then I'm like, other than these characters are just there before, I don't see any narrative yet. So I'm hoping that Damon Lindelof, who I trust because he's done better work than Kurtzman, because the three of them, Kurtzman and JJ and him, were a part of the Bad Robot stuff. I trust Damon to do a better project lead on Watchmen than Kurtzman on Star Trek.
This is where I want to be. I'd want to be doing something like this because it's a known property, but it's do whatever you want to it. But just respect it. But I think they have the support of Dave Gibbons and I think Alan Moore. I think
no,
I knew the writers.
Not Moore. Moore is not happy with it to begin with, and Damon just like we're still doing this, that kind of thing. I mean, he wasn't happy to begin with when they were doing the before Watchmen, right?
Yeah.
So,
but the statute of limitations on that expired.
Yeah,
and DC's like, yeah, we own it. We're gonna do this.
And then he says he's officially retired from writing comics. I'm like, okay, that's on you. That's fine.
I'll watch it. It does have its appeal and interest. Plus, it's a DC property. I do root for DC. I do like DC stuff.
Yeah, which I'm kind of not upset, but upset that they folded Vertigo because it's going to DC anyway, so it's going to be part of them, but just there's no Vertigo label. So who knows if that will come back into the TV series as Vertigo. So, Netflix has The Witcher, which is Henry Cavill's new project. Maybe. Henry Cavill is now The Witcher.
Yes. No longer Superman because you wouldn't do the damn cameo.
Although I just read recently that he might be still interested in doing Man of Steel 2, but who knows?
Yeah. Just come back with a decent request for your paycheck. Yeah. And we'll talk about it.
Well, honestly, if he hasn't been dicked around as much as DC has no game plan, then I would say we'll meet in the middle.
It's true. DC does have no game plan at this point.
Yeah.
Like, Matthew, whenever you want to come out with that Batman movie, that'd be great. But, take your time.
We'll wait.
Because we can't fuck this up.
We got nothing. But Witcher looks pretty good. Is it a series that is going to be as popular as Game of Thrones? Even though I had no idea that it was a series of books.
Uh-huh.
So it's not so much about the game, but an expanded world of the books themselves, which I thought that's good. That they're doing that and not doing a game adaptation.
That's the thing. I haven't played the game. I know nothing about this.
Right.
But I'll watch it because it's pop culture-y.
Right. So the idea is that if this is something that you like, then perhaps maybe go ahead and read the books. That kind of thing. Kind of like I'm interested in I blanked out what we talked about earlier that I'm like I want to read. Oh, Good Omens.
Yes.
Something like that. I don't know if there's any other big projects other than Dark Crystal for Netflix. We have The Witcher. I can't think of anything that's major.
I don't know. Netflix can do what it wants. It's got its own original programming. They have fallen a little behind. Just get Stranger Things season 4 out as soon as you can.
Yeah.
Help David Harbour in his career. I don't know.
More than ever.
Yeah.
Although hopefully Black Widow will make up for Hellboy. The other thing for TV news, there's Snowpiercer that's coming to TBS.
I didn't see the movie. I have no interest in it.
Chris Evans starred in that movie.
I know that.
And it is dark as hell. But the idea is that society is basically stuck on this train that's running around the world, and there's different class systems basically. It had an ending that I thought like, okay, that's all you need to do, and you're closed that story. How are they going to expand that into a TV series if they're going to do that ending? That's going to be like, okay. I don't know. It looks good though, but it's strange. I just saw the first episode of The Boys for season 1 for Amazon.
Yet. Up last night.
Fantastic, absolutely fantastic and dark, and I love it. So they're already starting season 2 production, so that's good news for Amazon. And that's all I have for news. Any
You
little
want to talk
tidbits?
about Terminator Dark Fate or the Harlequin series that they dropped trailers for? It's not on your radar. It doesn't really matter. It's so much stuff.
Terminator might have a shot if.
I mean, it's Tim Miller from the Deadpool movie.
That's the thing.
And it's got all these people coming back. Everyone's coming back. Arnold, Linda Hamilton,
Edward
Ed
Furlong. Yeah. So
forget the other 3 films that we did in the series.
There is precedence for that. Halloween, the latest one with Jamie Lee Curtis.
Right. Just forget it. It doesn't matter.
Right.
You still went to see it. You still loved it. So
Right.
it might still work.
So as a result of that, there's Halloween Kills Again and Halloween, or the end of Halloween or something like that. So there's 2 more sequels in the works of that with Jamie Lee Curtis. I'm like, you're running this into the ground when it was already been run to the ground, and you did a great approach with having a worthy sequel to the original, and now it just feels you're overkilling it. Now with the Terminator series, we're already at Terminator Genesis, which kind of went off the rails.
Yeah.
And then you also had the Terminator series, the Sarah Connor Chronicles, which I kind of liked, and it dug for 2 seasons with Lena Headey and Summer Glau, whose character was similar to the Terminator in Genesis, but that seems to be the same character that's in Terminator Dark Fate, where it's kind of like a half human cyborg thing. But what took me a moment, or at least a second time, to watch the trailer, at least on the big screen, was that the guy who's the Terminator, he's driving a truck, and there was like a rebar.
Right, and he forms outside, and he throws the rebar.
Right, I didn't realize there's a skeleton or exoskeleton inside the truck, and then the liquid is also forming. So it's 2 of them, not 1. I'm like, oh, that's interesting. That there are basically 2 type of combinations.
I don't know. I think it's just camera magic, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah, and then there was nothing about Avatar since that's been pushed out. So there's nothing really else that is out there, and there's nothing about DC. Although he did say about Harlequin series.
It wasn't bad. It looked okay. The trailer looked fine.
But is it animated or?
It's animated. Yeah.
Okay.
With Kylie Coco.
Right. That's right.
You know this.
It's been a hard ride because I like Harlequin, and the Birds of Prey movie is coming out. But again,
I don't know. I'm worried about that Birds of Prey movie.
Right, because
the leaks I've heard about it coming out, it's all about something really silly and stupid. I'm like, we're actually doing that? That's gonna suck. But okay.
But we'll see. I mean, the fact that you already had a ridiculously long title to begin with, and they're doing another character onto that, Batgirl was being brought in as well.
The Huntress?
No. Actual Batgirl. And
okay.
I forgot the name of the actress. This was just recent. That was going to be brought on to play Batgirl in the Birds of Prey movie. But we'll see what happens. So aside from that, like most years, this is all we can do from our comfortable home to talk about San Diego Comic-Con. We've been to Dragon Con a couple of years ago, which I thought was outstanding for what they do. I can only imagine how San Diego could even rival something like of that caliber. would you still want to go
To Dragon Con or SDCC?
to SDCC?
Of course I want to go. I'm a toy collector. I would love that.
And what'd you do with your toys?
Oh, I leave them in the packaging, collecting in
Right,
Tupperware containers.
exactly.
I never open. I let them accrue in value because I'm a...
No,
yeah,
they don't.
I try. I don't know.
But would you spend the time to sit out there just for Hall H, or is there other things?
How much alcohol and sleep do I have?
None.
No.
No alcohol and no sleep. But if we play it
Still an
right,
amazing time.
yeah, that's the other thing. You have to buy your tickets in advance, and you're never going to do this like a year ahead. But same thing with Dragon Con. You have to buy your tickets well in advance.
Yes,
So,
indeed.
so I have no money.
I have no money either.
I have no time. We have no
I'm
time.
a caregiver. I can't do this.
Right. So the best we can do is what we do every year. Just talk about stuff, and then when it comes out, then we get to watch it. So, and that's the other thing too I miss is the cool swag. Like the Black Widow giveaway for attending. Everyone gets a Black Widow hat. I want that damn Black Widow hat.
I know you do.
So, so on that note,
$30 I think on Amazon or 40.
is it?
Yeah.
Which I
Oh,
hate.
not Amazon. I'm sorry.
eBay. Yeah. Which I hate when they do that
That's okay.
because it's exclusive. Dicks.
But no one knows if you're wearing it that you didn't go. Well, they'd ask and then they'd know. But
Yeah. So, all right. I think we're good. We've gone on quite long enough. I mean, I'm sure there are other things that we didn't touch upon, but it was kind of off our radar, like Supernatural. I know it's the last year, but I've never seen the show. Game of Thrones last year, although the producers
they chickened out.
they chickened out. So, and I understand their point.
I do, but to do it less than 24 hours before they're supposed to show up, no, that's fucked up.
Well, they're doing Star Wars, so they'll answer later on for their
They will
crimes,
pay. Someone will throw acid or paint at them.
or both. All right, so that brings an end to our podcast, finally. So thank you very much for listening to us on the Monster Sci-Fi Show. See?
Good. Keep going. Close it.
Yeah,
Close it.
You can always email us at the Monster Sci-Fi Show at gmail.com. Follow me on the various social networks like, I don't know, Facebook or Pinterest or even Instagram. I'm always posting stuff there. So even though I don't have a podcast right now going out every week as I like, you can still follow my activities and have a good time. All right. So again, thank you for listening to the Monster Sci-Fi Show. It's sci-fi from a certain point of view. Good night.
This has been a broadcast of the ESO Network. Be part of the crew and help support our shows by donating to our ESO Patreon or by shopping through Amazon.com or the TeePublic store, which can all be found at www.esonetwork.com. The ESO Network, your station for all things geek.